It is possible to measure length and height well. We shouldn't use the excuse that it is difficult not to do it. We should use that as a justification for putting effort into doing the simple things well. Once we have secured that, because that is necessary for all the historical and the trending data, we should also be thinking about what other markers of nutritional status we should use. And that's a big topic, much bigger than we can take. Just here, I'd love to discuss it with you.
Yes, just add that I think in my simple view of things that height is easier to explain to policymakers, and at the moment it is linked to, income and intelligence and all that, and it is easier to explain it and convince people based on height.
One last question.
Yeah, thank you so much. My name is Sisai Sinamo from World Vision. I think, Dr. Steve, you raised a very important point in terms of the challenges we have in measuring the height. And one observation in our programs in many countries in Africa is, do we really have the right instruments, especially in areas where we do the measurement? So, based on the way forward as you indicated, is there any way, to provide improved measuring tool? For instance, the leg is work sometimes it's heavy to carry, brakes and so on. And that is the biggest challenge for us, really, to come up with an accurate measurement in terms of height. Thank you.
I'll be quick. There are new shortboards that are now available that are made out of plastic that Irwin Shaw has developed. They're available through Weight and Measure. And I know a lot of the agencies are looking at those now because they are lighter, more durable, and can be used in many settings where the shortboard starts to break down and degenerate. I would argue the shortboard still is one hell of a piece of equipment. It still works more than good enough. It's as good as the operator who uses it. The area where I think we need some more thought is probably around weight and having good, reliable equipment to be used for the measurement of weight. Because many of the devices that we use, even the Seeker device that WHO has endorsed, is limited in how its usefulness in many settings. So I think we can probably make some big improvements around the technology, more robust, reliable technology around the weight. But we have been talking to the manufacturers about how they can do this.
Thank you. So I did say that was the last
One
question,
last one.
but there is one very last question.
I'm Zafar from Uganda, and I may need some clarification from Dr. Steve. I think the earlier inventors of these measurements predicted that later on there may be errors that may be found by the illuminators, and I think that's why they provided ranges of interpretation of these images. So I think however much errors may be here and there, but interpretation of these measurements have ranges. I think they catered for this somewhere, somehow. Yes.
The point I'm seeking to make is that we should be able to make better training aids. I think with today's technology, you could make a video on your iPhone or iPad, or smartphone or pad, and with simple, freely available technology, editing technology, with a focus on the critical points of the measure, rather than a quick demonstration, I think we could really, really improve the quality of what we do. We have made one. I have an example with me if people would like to see it over lunch. I'm happy to share it.
I'm really sorry that we're unable to take any more questions because we need to move over to the next session.
A favor for me. I want to put the question because I was there. Could you give me a favor? I want to put the question because I was
Depends on the
there.
favor. Go on then.
Thanks a lot. My question is just for VII. This is we know that this problem with these techniques which are really expensive to
to use it as a population scale. Could we just use them to develop and validate new equations and cut off from the conventional techniques like anthropometry, like bioimpedance analysis, and then use those techniques as a large population to get very specific data from our population? Thank you.
I can't agree more with you, Habib. So we are not saying that nuclear techniques are used to the exclusion of the routine methodologies, but we are saying that if they are combined and routinely used for verification, then you maximize the benefit and the quality of the data. For example, we are combining body composition measurement with DEXA, X-ray and sociometry, and with that you can see not only the fat composition, but you can see the distribution, because where the fat is in the body is very important. So there is visceral fat is more metabolically active and more linked to NCD technique. So you are right. We need to target the use of nuclear techniques for verification of the routine methodologies. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much to both our speakers, Victor and Steve, for interesting, informative and certainly action-provoking presentations. We thank them in the usual way. And now I'm going to hand over to Professor Aldwood to lead the introduction to the debate, and I'd also like to invite Dr. Ella Compere to join her as her co-chair.
Into the first session, we're going to face the question micronutrient deficiencies and what are potential solutions. We have a proposition of the debate saying that food fortification and supplementation are the panacea for addressing micronutrient deficiencies. And we're very lucky to have two experts to debate each side of this. So we'll start with Greg Garrett, who's the Director of Food Fortification again, and on the boards of the Iodine Global Network and the Food Fortification Initiative. All three of these organisations are trying to expand, improve and sustain food fortification programmes where appropriate. And he'll be speaking for the motion. He will be followed by Maruli Sadler, who's a specialist in international nutrition and food quality management systems at the FAO African region. He's an advisor on mainstreaming nutrition into the Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Programme. And he's worked for quite some time at the FAO, but in a previous life he worked for the Helen Keller International Organisation for over 7 years as Africa's regional food fortification advisor. And Sabel will be speaking against the motion. So they will both start with short presentations, and then there will be some back and forth debate around that. And there will be an opportunity for you to question them as well.